through the fascial lines of the body. We'll do some balance work as well. Good morning, Mary. Actually, you know what? If you have free weights that are like 2 pounds or less, maybe 3 pounds, or cans of tomatoes or beans or nothing else, that's totally optional. You can do these exercises without as well. The other thing, just to think ahead, we're going to do a little foot series against a wall. So we won't do it at the very beginning, but just to have in mind for later, I'm going to use my little wall back there. But if you know of somewhere in your living room or your bedroom, wherever you are, if there's a wall you can put your feet up against, we're going to do that. Are we all accounted for? Let's see, Christine, Oksana, Mary.
You go.
I think we're good. Okay, so we're going to start standing. Let's tilt my screen up. And we are going to tap through some of the fascial lines on the body just to kind of wake up the neural pathways. So one of the fascial lines goes sort of across the diagonal plane from right shoulder to left hip, and then across the other diagonal plane from left shoulder to right hip. And then they also cross behind, like if you think of a big X through the body. So from my shoulder all the way to the back of the opposing hip, and from the other shoulder all the way to the back of the other hip. The other fascial line we're going to tap into goes from our inner ankle through our inner thigh all the way up into our throat. So that's our deep front line that we're going to tap into. To start though, you're going to take your left arm and your right hand, and you're just going to tap along your arm all the way down. Sorry if this is loud in my AirPods, they pick up a lot of sound. And you're going to get to that inner arm as well, inside of the arm. So just tapping, coming all the way up to the back of the neck as well. And around the front of that shoulder, that chest, around the arm. Just sort of waking up your proprioception, your nerve response, the neural pathways. And let's go up and behind the neck again, behind the shoulder as far back as you can reach. And then we're just gonna do like a stroke. So you're gonna take the arm and you're gonna stroke down all the way to the ends of the fingertips, getting the inside of the arm as well. Just sort of stroke right from the back of the neck. And do one more right to the ends of the fingers. Then you're just gonna stand and notice from side to side. So you might notice you're a little bit more awake and energized through that side of the body. Maybe it feels too subtle, you might not notice it. And we'll go and do the same on the other side, just sort of tapping along the arm, all the way down, and all the way up, through the front of the shoulder, through the back of the shoulder, back of the neck, back of the arm. Sometimes it's easier to connect with parts of the body after the nerve response has been woken up. So this is a way of doing so. And then we'll take that stroking action. So just sort of squeeze and stroke down the arm. Getting all parts, outside, inside arm, through the neck. And then you're just going to stand, do that side to side comparison now. Maybe feel that sense of alertness or awareness or sensitivity through that arm. We're going to do the same with the legs. So I'm going to tap along my right hip, all the way down my right leg, all the way to the back of the calf, back of the hamstring, even the back of the hip. Getting that inner thigh as well, inner calf. Maybe even let's go into the foot, since we're going to do some footwork today too. And then take that stroke down the leg, sort of brushing the leg down a few times, getting the back of the hip as well. And then just standing, feeling that awareness and sensitivity through that right leg. And we'll go to the left hip as well. Getting the side of the hip, the back of the hip, back of the leg, back of the calf, outer leg, inner thigh, inner leg. So we're going to cue a lot through inner thigh today as we move through an abdominal series later in class. We'll go through our feet since we're going to do some footwork, and the bottoms of the feet too, since we're going to do some balance work. Get the inner thigh again, and then take that stroke down the leg. Sweep and stroke. Good. And then we're going to come to standing and just sense the awareness from side to side. Good. Let's just take a wide stance now. We're going to take our left hand to our right shoulder and just sort of stroke across, just to sort of sense this diagonal. So from my right shoulder to my left hip is, if you picture like a sling, that's it. And then if we go to stand on our right leg, you're going to bring your left knee up and try to bring that shoulder, that right shoulder to the left knee, and then release it. And then again, so that right shoulder to left knee, that sling tightens, and then that sling expands, and that sling tightens, and that sling expands. Do a couple more, that sling tightens, and it expands, and one more, it draws in, and it expands. And we'll go to the other side. So from my left shoulder, I'll be doing lots of left and rights today, to right hip. Left shoulder to right hip. If you kind of picture in your mind's eye, maybe like a big red band or a red sling going across the body. And you can take your shoulder with your left hand and your right hip, and then think left shoulder draws into right hip, and then it expands. Left shoulder draws into right hip, and then it expands. That's it. Drawing it in. So this is our oblique sling. So those muscles that go across the abdominals. And we'll do one more, and then come to standing. We're gonna wake up those back diagonals. So you're gonna step forward with your right leg. Maybe I'll show you from the back here. I'm gonna step forward with my right leg, with my left leg back behind me. I'll just tilt my camera back so you can see my feet. I'm sort of pretending like I'm going for a walk. So I've pressed through my back left toes. You're going to take your right hand to the top of your right shoulder and your left hand to the top of that left hip. And then thinking of that cross diagonal from the back of the right shoulder to the left hip, I'm just going to start to twist. So sort of reaching my right shoulder back to my left hip, and then bringing it to square off. Right shoulder reaches back to that left hip. Maybe you feel that back glute engage, and then unravel. Right shoulder reaches back to that left hip, and then unravel. So it's like that sling is getting shorter as you twist, and then getting longer as you return. Let's do one more like that. That sling's getting shorter as you twist, and then longer on the return. Let's change sides. So now you're going to step forward with the left leg, right toes are pressing through, hand to shoulder, hand to back of hip. And now that left shoulder is going to twist to reach back towards the right hip, and then return. So as one diagonal is opening, the other one is shortening. So if I'm opening from right hip to left shoulder, but left shoulder to back of right hip is shortening. We'll do a couple more like that. Really picturing that diagonal through the back body, and return, coming to standing, okay? So we're gonna work with those images of the X through the front of the body and that X through the back of the body. We'll cue through that with some abdominal work later. Find that wall where you're gonna rest your feet on. And if you have the weights, you can grab them as well. Okay, let's just see. You guys see me here? You can see my feet. That's it. I'll give everyone a second to get sorted at their wall. So your weights will just be off to the side. Oopsies. And then your knees are going to be at 90 degrees, sort of where you're making a tabletop position with the knees dropping right over the hips, relaxing the pelvis. Okay. Good. I know it takes a second to find a place in your house. You got it. So once you arrive there, just sense the back diagonals of your body relaxing into the floor. So if you notice that you're kind of tightening around your rib cage, just let it soften. And where the X meets in the middle through the back body, let that soften. Then from here, we're going to think of the right inner thigh drawing in towards the pelvis. And that results in that right knee drawing up towards the chest. And then return the right foot down. I know these are kind of complex cues to think about. So left inner thigh deepens down and into the pelvis as we lift the left knee up from the floor. And then return it from the wall, I should say. Right inner thigh draws down and in to pick the right knee up and return. So we're doing this without hip hiking. Left inner thigh draws down and in to lift the left knee up. And then can you keep the backs of the ribs relaxed? So backs of the ribs relaxed and thinking of the inner thigh doing the work to pick the knee up. And return. We'll do one more each side here. You might feel the belly button draw back to the spine as you lift the knee up. So we're trying to find ease of motion here. Belly button deepens to the spine as that inner thigh picks the knee up. Relax here for a moment. You're going to take your weights. You're going to hold them and lift the arms straight up to the ceiling. And now relax the backs of your shoulders so that the shoulder blades sit heavy to the floor. From here, you're going to open up your right arm to the side without tipping the shoulders or the hips to the right. And then return the right arm through the middle. Same with the left. So you're going to open your left arm to the side and then return. So we work with those diagonals from my left hip to my right shoulder. That stays connected as I open that right arm side. And return. That's it. And then on the opposite side, from my right hip to my left shoulder, that diagonal stays connected as I open my left arm. And return. Notice if you're tensing in your neck or your jaw. Let's do this a few more times each side. So right arm opens, connecting that diagonal through the front of the body. And return. Connecting my right hip to my left shoulder as I open my left arm. Now, can you keep the backs of the shoulders relaxed and the backs of the ribs relaxed? And return. We're going to do one more to the left. And return. We're going to do both arms now. So opening both arms to the side. And then exhale, return. Backs of the shoulders relaxed as you open the arms. Backs of the shoulders relaxed as you close the arms. So if you have that image of the arm bone sitting in the socket, that arm bone, the top of the arm bone just spins inside the socket as you open. It spins inside the socket as you close. I know these are kind of complex images to think about. Maybe it's just easy enough to think of the backs of the shoulders sitting heavy into the floor. We'll do two more here, open and close, and one more here, open and close. Leave the arms straight up overhead. Again, relax the backs of your shoulders. Now we're going to try opposite arm to leg. So as I lift my right foot off the wall and slide the knee into the chest, I'm going to reach my left arm back. And then as that right foot returns, my left arm is going to return. My left toes are going to lift off the wall as my right arm reaches back behind my head. Oh, it's harder on this side. And I return, keep those shoulders sitting heavy to the mat, and then we'll keep going opposite arm to leg and return. So there's a lot to think about even just with the exercise, lifting the left foot off the wall as the right arm reaches back, and then bring it into return. So we're just waking up those very local muscles that center those joints. And we'll go again, left foot with right arm, and return, right foot with left arm, and return, trying to find that ease and fold through the front of the hip. We're gonna do one more each side here. Now, can you keep the backs of the ribs relaxed? I kind of forgot myself. And return, and last one here. And return, then you can just bring the weights down to the floor and bring the arms down beside you. Maybe feel a little bit more open through the front of that chest. We'll move to some footwork now. So keeping the feet on your wall, you're just gonna tap. So you're sort of slapping the base of the foot onto your wall. We're kind of waking up the front of the shin. So you might feel some heat going into the front of the legs. That's it. Again, relax the backs of your ribs. We're going to do a few more here. Once you feel that heat working into the legs, working into the fronts of the shins, relax the feet, and we'll go into some circles. So you're going to circle the feet around and then brush through the middle. And then those feet circle around, they brush through the middle. I'll just show you with my hands here in case you can't see. They brush the wall and circle around. They brush the wall and circle around. We'll do a few more of these, really putting pressure in through those toes, and then reverse the circle. So they brush out, around, and in, out, around, and in. And it's almost like there's paint at the bottom of the feet and we're stroking the wall with the paint. Out, around, and in. Keep relaxing the tops of the hips, relaxing the tops of the ribs, the backs of the ribs. We'll do a few more here, 2 and 1, and then just shake it out, shake those feet out, and we'll come off the wall. Alrighty, so coming off the wall here, we're going to take our weights. If you need to fold the mat over to create some cushion under the knees, you can. Just lift up my camera a bit. We're going to work through a little bit of spirals. So arms are going to come forward here. That's it. I want to keep the those back diagonals kind of active to support my spine so I'm not sinking into the hips. And then from here, I'm going to bring my left elbow back as my right arm reaches forward, and then return through the middle. Right elbow back as the left one reaches forward, return through the middle, and reach, and return. So if you can kind of picture what's happening through the diagonals of the body, one side is opening up as the back side is getting shorter, and return. And on the opposite side, one side is getting longer as the other side's getting shorter, and return. So as I open my elbow, I'm opening and widening that fascial line. Same on the other side. As my right elbow comes back, that right fascial sling is getting longer. One more each side here. Now we think from that right shoulder to that back hip is getting shorter, and return. From that shoulder to the back of hip is getting shorter, and return. Let's bend the elbows, bring the hands to face in. We're going to open and we're going to close. Now keep supporting the spine, so not sinking into those hips. Open and close and open and close. We're going to do one more here. Open and close, and you're going to bring the elbows in, sort of squeezing into your ribs. Now, if we were going for like a power walk, we would kind of squeeze those arms into the ribs. And I want you to think about those back diagonals of the body, sort of right through this cross section of my shoulder blades, that those are kind of squeezing together to work through and pump the arms. We're going to keep going for that power walk. Maybe it feels a little silly. That's okay. Squeeze the arms in to your ribs and really work through that back diagonal cross. Just breathing gently through this. We'll do about 5 more slow breaths here. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then relax the arms down by your sides here. First, bring the hands to the hips and take some hinges. So we're gonna fold through the hips and sort of sink the hips back to the heels. And then using those glutes, you're gonna squeeze to lift the hips up again. Settling down, so we're finding this hinge through the hips and return. Now, if we think about the inner thighs, those inner thighs are drawing into the pelvis and then they're lengthening as we come up. Both inner thighs are drawing into the pelvis and then coming up to return. We'll just do a couple more here. Hinge and squeeze to lift. One more hinge, squeeze to lift and stay. Now we're going to take our left heel and squeeze it up towards our left glute and then release it down. Right heel squeezes up to right glute and lift it down. Left heel, squeeze, release. Right heel, squeeze, release. Try not to shift your weight, so keep your weight even on both knees as you do this. We're sort of actively engaging the hamstring, actively releasing it. So don't just let that foot plop down. Release with control. We'll do one more each side here. So left heel squeezes up, left heel releases down. Right heel squeezes up, and right heel releases down. And we're gonna come down onto our hands and knees now. So coming to 4-point kneel, we're in neutral spine. I'll show you on the diagonal here. We wanna center the shoulders to find that support. So in your 4-point kneel, you're gonna push through the arms and let those scapula widen. And then you're gonna relax under your armpits and let the scapula start to slide together and narrow. So push through the arms, widen those shoulder blades, and then soften under the armpits to slide the shoulder blades together. As you do this, keep the spine flat. So we're long from tail to head, and those shoulder blades are moving around the ribs all the way forward and around the ribs all the way towards the spine. We're gonna do 2 more in that full range going forward and back. On this next one, you're gonna come all the way forward, but pause through the middle. So right in between those ranges. So we're really thinking of that arm bone hugging in towards the back of the shoulder. From here, you're gonna stretch your right leg back. Your left arm is gonna go to the side. Your right leg is gonna lift off the mat to hover, and we're gonna open our left shoulder like an airplane wing. That's it. Keeping that right leg up off the mat, you're gonna take that left arm, loop it under the chest to reach across to the other side. And then again, unfold that left arm to twist. And then reach that left arm under. So you think from the back of the left shoulder to the back of that right hip, that diagonal is shortening. And then from the back of that left shoulder to the back of the right hip, that diagonal is getting longer. 2 more like that. From the back of that left shoulder to the back of the right hip, it's shortening. Back of left shoulder to back of right hip is lengthening. 1 more to unfold. And then come back through neutral, release that right knee down, stretch your left leg back, right arm side. Left leg hovers off the mat here. Sorry for the noise in the background. And then we'll do our spiral. So open that right shoulder to twist, and then that right arm is gonna loop under the chest and across. So we think through the diagonals of the body, those fascial lines from the back of the right shoulder to back of the left hip, it shortens, and then that sling gets longer as you reach across. Right shoulder to left hip, that sling gets shorter, and then that sling gets longer as you twist. 2 more like this. Inhale, exhale, open and twist. 1 more, we're gonna open, unravel, and then bring the arm and leg down. Good. In neutral here, we're gonna wake up those side of hip muscles, our glute med. So you're gonna kind of lean to, maybe it's best if I show you from this view. You're gonna kind of lean towards the right hip, kind of sticking it out. And then you're gonna use that right hip to squeeze back to the middle. I'll show you from the diagonal. So I'm going to lean towards my left hip now. So my pelvis slides to the left, and then I'm going to squeeze from that left hip back to the middle. I'm going to lean over to the right, so you can feel that muscle lengthen, and then that muscle contract to bring your hips back center. It's very subtle. Lean over to the left, and then that left glute brings the hips back to the middle. Lean over to the right, and then that right glute brings the hips back to the middle. Keep the pelvis neutral even though you're leaning, so try not to tuck the tail under. That's it. One more each side here, leaning to the right. Right side glute engages to bring it center. Lean to the left. Left glute engages to bring it center. Good. Tuck your toes under. Going for a little bit more high power ab activity. We're going to lift the knees up to a hover here. Remember that shoulder placement. So not sinking the chest down and not opening those shoulders. Keep it right in the middle. From here, we're going to do a cat stretch. So you're going to deepen the belly button to the spine and round the spine, round the shoulders. So we're in our curl. Keeping the knees where they are, you're going to reverse that. Ribs come forward, chest reaches forward, and arch. 3 more. Inhale, exhale, round the spine in that 4-point heel hover. Inhale, exhale, roll those ribs forward. 2 more. Inhale, exhale, curl. And inhale, exhale, arch. Inhale, exhale, curl. And inhale, exhale, arch, releasing the knees down. Relax all the way. Good. Let's swing our legs around to come forward. I'm just going to change my camera view as we go to the next series. There's going to be a lot more abdominal activity. And we're going to cue into those inner thighs. So let's start on our sit bones. Just sort of balancing here. And then we're going to think from those inner thighs, they're going to draw in. Actually, today, let's connect them together. If that feels uncomfortable at all, 1 second, I'm just going to close my window. Lots of street noises today. We'll connect the inner thighs together, sitting up tall on your sit bones. And then you're going to roll the hips underneath you. So careful, this isn't just coming from my upper back curling. I'm going to initiate almost like there's a wheel in the hips turning back. So then we're getting more deep abdominals and then coming upright. Now, if I think inner thighs draw in first, and then my pelvis rolls under, and then pelvis comes back upright. Rolling the hips back, but drawing those inner thighs in, and then returning. We'll just do 2 more like this. Curl, squeezing those inner thighs down and in, and return. Curl, squeezing those inner thighs down and in, and return. And then we're going to roll all the way back onto our spines here, sliding the feet under the knees, releasing the head down onto your mats. That's it. Good. From here, we're going to lift the knees up to tabletop, 1 leg at a time. Keeping those deep abs engaged, squeezing those inner thighs together. From here, we're going to roll the hips to the right. So bringing the left hip off the mat, rolling the hips right. Squeeze the inner thighs to bring the hips back to the middle. Then my right hip lifts off the mat to bring the knees over to the left, and then squeeze the knees back to the middle. Inhale, roll the knees to the right. Exhale, inner thighs squeeze to bring the knees center. Inhale, over to the left. Inner thighs squeeze to bring the knees back to the middle. We'll do 1 more each side here. Twist. Exhale, return. And twist. Exhale, return. Just take a moment here. You're going to release the feet down 1 at a time, bringing the arms up, hands facing towards the thighs. Backs of the shoulders sink heavy into the mat. Take a moment here, then bring the knees up to tabletop, this time separating the inner thighs. We're gonna think connecting right shoulder to left hip, that sling sort of locked in, and then left shoulder to right hip, that sling's locked in. From there, stabilizing those fascial slings, we're gonna reach opposite arm to leg. So right toe reaches out, left arm reaches back, and then bring it in to return. Don't let those slings go as you reach left toe out, right arm back, and return. So we're stabilizing from opposite shoulder to opposite hip and return. Opposite shoulder to opposite hip and return. We'll do one more each side before we keep going. Reach and return and reach and return. Then you're going to squeeze the legs together, bring the hands behind the head. We're going to come up into our ab curl here. From our ab curl, we're going to stretch both legs out. Squeeze the inner thighs back in, release the spine back down. Exhale, curl. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, bend. Inhale, return. Exhale, curl. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, bend. Inhale, return. 3 more. Exhale, curl. Inner thighs stretch. Inner thighs draw in and return. Last 2 and curl. And stretch and bend. Whew, and return. Last 1, curl. Stretch, bend, return. You're going to keep the legs up. You're going to reach the arms back over your head here. They're going to come down towards your hips. You're going to pretend you're doing a roll up. So you're going to curl and roll up. But as you reach that halfway point, you're going to stretch the legs, reach the arms forward, and try to balance right off of your sit bones. As you roll down, we're going to try to keep the toes off the mat, just bending the knees in, rolling the top of the spine down to release. We'll do that again. This time take a circle of the arms. So arms are going to circle out and down. Curl and roll up. And then stretch your legs, squeeze those inner thighs down and then reach your chest forward. Nice. And then rolling down with control, bending the knees in. Very nice, everyone. 2 more like this. So arms down. As you roll up, think of those diagonals through the front of the body, stabilizing you. And then think of those inner thighs drawing in. And then we're going to bend the knees. I've lost count. Let's do 1 more here. Inhale, arms circle. Exhale, diagonal, stabilize, stretch. Inner thighs squeeze in. And then rolling down slowly. And then release. Ooh, that's lots of abdominal work there. You can just hug the knees in and rock from side to side. Good. 1 more exercise on our backs here. You're going to bring the knees or the feet down. We are going to do a little bit of leg work. So you're going to lift the hips up. Make sure you're in neutral spine so we're not popping the ribs forward. So those ribs are in line with the spine. Working through this diagonal. So from my left shoulder to my right hip, I'm thinking of that locking in and stabilizing me. Then I'm going to bring my right leg up and stretch it all the way up to the ceiling. From here, I'm going to lower that leg down halfway, and then I'm going to lift it up to return. Now think of that diagonal, locking it in, lower the toe, and lift the toe. 2 more, lower the toe, and lift the toe. Last one, lower the toe, lift the toe, fold that right knee in. Let's stay up in our hip press. Now think right shoulder connecting to left hip. Send that left leg all the way up. Left hip to right shoulder connected. Then lower that left toe down for 2 and lift for 2. Lower down for 2. Lifting up for 2. Twice more, lower and lift and lower. Lift, folding the thigh in, relax your hips down, and let's roll onto our side here. Nice work. Very good. Okay, on our side, let's fold the top leg in and relax down onto your shoulder here. I'm gonna take this off so I have a bit more room. Sorry guys, there we go. So with my top leg folded in, I'm gonna flex my bottom heel here. Now notice if you're pushing your ribs forward, can you keep the back diagonals soft? That's it. Then we're gonna flex that bottom foot. You're gonna think of that inner thigh, that bottom inner thigh suctioning in towards the hip to lift the thigh up and release down. So it's just sort of a leg lift to that bottom leg, but we're thinking more specifically inner thigh draws in to lift the leg up, release. Inner thigh draws in to lift the leg up, release. Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. If you're not really feeling inner thigh work, try bringing the foot forward a little bit. It should feel like a lot of inner thigh work for that bottom leg. We'll do 5 more here. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax the leg. You're going to take that top leg up to meet the bottom leg. Top hip stack over bottom one. We're going to lift both thighs up and down. Both thighs up and down. It's like the bottom inner thigh is lifting the top thigh up. Bottom inner thigh lifts the top thigh up. Try not to shorten in the waist as you do this. So keeping the length of the waist, easier said than done. Just 2 more. And 1. Relaxing the legs, take that top leg up. And we're gonna reach the front arm forward. So it's like there's a diagonal from my fingertips to my back heel. I'm gonna sweep the arm back as my leg comes forward. Whoops, there goes my foam roller. And then change. As the leg reaches back, my arm reaches forward. As my leg reaches forward, my arm sweeps back. Inhale, leg back, arm forward. Exhale, leg forward, arm back. Inhale, leg back, arm forward. Exhale, leg forward, arm back. As you reach the leg forward and back, try not to drop it. So keep it at a consistent height, like it's sweeping across the shelf. And reach. We'll do 1 more here. Reaching the leg forward, arm back. Arm forward, leg back. You're going to stay. Lower that back heel down. And then lift it up. Back heel down. And then lift it up. 2 more. Lower. Lift. Lower. Lift. You're going to square off the shoulders. Come up onto your elbows. So we're really supporting under this side, supporting from that leg. And then that top leg's going to come in and reach it back. Folding that top knee in, reach it back, and you stabilize across this diagonal. So from my top hip to my bottom shoulder, and then from my bottom hip to my top shoulder. Whew, that's hard. Try not to sink into that shoulder, really push the floor away. Just 2 more. 1. And relax. Hopefully that glute is nice and tired. Good job. Let's go to the other side. Very nice. So on the other side here, you're going to start with your top leg folded up into the chest, onto the floor. Bottom leg is going to kick underneath you here. And then we're going to lift that top heel up and down. More specifically, we're thinking of that inner thigh suctioning in towards the pelvis as it lifts up and down, up and down. If you're finding you're not really getting any work into the inner thigh, maybe slide the foot forward towards your top leg a little bit, up and down, up and down. Just 4 more here. Whew, more tired on this side. So it's that's it, the bottom one. And now the top leg is going to stretch to meet the bottom one. And then both legs together. Woo, wobbly on this side. You can always use that top hand for support on the floor. Up and down. 3 more here. Squeeze. Squeeze. 1 And then we're going to reach that top leg up, sweep it to the back, and then that top arm is going to reach forward. So there's this diagonal. As the arm sweeps back, the leg sweeps forward. As the leg sweeps back, the arm sweeps forward. Sweep and reach. Inhale, reach. Exhale, reach. Inhale, reach. Exhale, reach. So think of that oppositional reach from fingers to heel. Fingers to heel. And then that top leg is sort of sweeping across an imaginary shelf. So it doesn't drop as it goes back or front. And reach. We'll do 2 more here. Reach. Reach. 1 more full one here. Reach. And reach. Good. We're going to come on to our bottom elbow, top arm comes behind the head. Now I'm going to try to prop myself up here with that elbow. Easier said than done. And then we're going to try to keep that whole supporting side nice and active so we're not sinking into that rib. That top leg is going to kick back and then it's just going to fold in and out. So as that knee folds in, try not to hike the hip. You'll notice if you hike the hip, the waist sort of sags down to the floor. So if we fold truly from the hip, nothing in the ribs should have to shift. Whew, it's a lot of work through that supporting hip and through that top hip. We'll do 3 more here, in and out, in and out. 1 more, in and out, relaxing down all the way. Nice work, just shake it out. So we got lots of work through that outer hip. Very good, good, good. Okay, before we do some balance work, we're gonna do 1 little extension exercise. So you can lie face down on your bellies. Your legs are gonna go mat width apart and your arms are gonna go mat width apart as well. And we're just gonna think about these back diagonals that sort of cross through the back of the body. So reaching opposite arm to leg. So once we're lying face down here on the floor, you're gonna lengthen out through your right fingers and your left toes. And then you're gonna lift the chest, arm and leg off the mat to hover. And then lower back down. Then we'll do the other side. So we're reaching out through the left fingers, right toes. That length brings me up to a lift. And then that length brings me down to a lower. And I'm just going to keep alternating from side to side. So opposite arm to leg, lift and lower. Other side, opposite arm to leg, lift and lower. Keep going here, lift and lower and lift and lower. 1 more each side, lift and lower. Lift, lower both arms and legs now. So full body hover, arms reach out, legs reach out to lift and lower back down. Think of the center of your chest trying to reach towards the wall in front of you. And lower, 5 more here, up and down. Inhale up, exhale down. 3 more, inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Last one, inhale up, exhale, lower, bend your elbows, push your hands into the mat, and let's stretch back into the heels, hips to heels, releasing the back. Good. We're gonna roll ourselves up. And we're going to finish with a little bit of balance work. So a couple of things here. We're going to roll up our mat to make an unsteady surface. So if you have the thick mats, they're kind of the most ideal. If you have a thin mat, it's fine. You could add more balance challenge if you, say, put like a little squishy pillow under it. but I kind of made like a platform like this. Exactly. You got it. And then we're going to place it under one foot. So I'm going to put it vertically here. I'm just going to tilt my camera up so you get the full body view. I move this back. Okie dokie. So I'm going to stand on my little platform I've made with my left foot. That's it. And then I'm going to bring my hands to my hips here just to start. Balancing on this left leg, I'm going to go back to my knee lift, crossing my left shoulder to my right knee. And then I'm going to kick that right leg back, bring my right shoulder forward. So right knee comes up. I'm trying to bring my left shoulder to my right knee. And then I'm going to kick my leg back to return. Adding the arms. So I'm going to twist. And then it's sort of like I'm pushing that arm forward as the leg goes back. And twist, leg goes back, arm comes forward. This is hard to balance. This is part of the challenge here. We're building the proprioception. We are building some strength through that whole chain from our foot to our hip. And reach. We'll do 2 more here. Kick and reach. Knee comes up. Stay on this side, bring your hands to your hips. Circle the leg forward, side, and back. Whoa, forward, side, and back. Don't do what I just did and counter that with your wrist. So keep this stable, front and back diagonals. Reverse the leg. Just 4 of them. 3. Nice work, everyone. 2, 1. Woo, come off of that. Shake it out. We did a lot of work with that side leg. Good job. We'll go to the other side. So now the platform's going to come under your right foot. Hands come to the hip, establishing our balance there. And then that left knee is going to come up as I turn my right shoulder to my left knee. And then left leg kicks back as the left shoulder points forward. So right shoulder to left hip, left shoulder away from left foot. Twist and kick. We can add the arms. Twist and kick. Twist and kick. That's it. Twist and kick. Just a couple more here. Maybe you find you have better balance from one side to the other. That's all good. Let's go to our leg circles now. So hands to the hips, square off the shoulders. Actually bring the hands front of the ribs, back of the ribs, circle the leg. Just checking in that we're not kind of countering the movement of the leg with the ribs, but keeping the ribs steady instead. Then reverse the circles. Back, side, front. Back, side, front. 2 more. Back, side, front. Whew. Back, side, front. Come off of there. Holy cow. That's a lot of work through those hips. Nice job. Good. Last exercise. We're going to incorporate a little bit of a plank with a balance on one leg. So I'm not going to use my mat for this just because I find it gets in the way. You might want to use just your floor. I'm going to start standing. Let's start with the leg. Let's start with the left leg. So I'm going to stand on my left leg. My right toes are going to come up to a little balance here, sort of like I'm on a balance beam. My arms are going to reach forward, and I'm going to do a roll down, staying on balance here. So following my cues, you're going to roll down, top of the head leads, keep balancing, and you're going to try to touch the floor here. If you need to bend your supporting knee, you can. Once we arrive, we're going to walk the arms forward like we're trying to do a plank, but that right foot stays off the floor. Once I find my plank here, establish that good alignment from hips to your spine. We're going to hold for 1 breath. Push the hip back, walk your hands back to your foot. Stay on balance with that right foot and deepen your lower abs to roll yourself up to balance. Pretend you're on that balance beam. So we're trying to stay on that one leg. And then return back onto your 2 feet. We're going to do the same on the left, and we'll do it again right, left, just so we get more chances. So left leg is coming off the mat to a little hover. And then I'm going to try to roll down. So my arms reach forward, my head reaches forward. Then I touch the mat. If you need to bend the knee, you can. And then we're going to walk out to a plank position. Keep that left foot off the floor. So show you from the diagonal here. Hold for one breath. So I'm good alignment here from my hips to my spine. I'm going to push my arms, lift my hip up, stay on balance as you walk your hand back to your foot, and then roll yourself up to standing. Good. We're going to do the same. Nice balances. Very good. We're going to do the same right and left again. So right toes lift off the mat. Take a breath here. Inhale, exhale to the floor. Inhale, exhale to plank. Slow inhale. Slow exhale, stay. Push from the arms, lift the hips up. Walk your hands back to your foot. Find those deep low abs as you roll yourself up to standing. And then return the foot down. We'll do the same with the left toes back. Pretending you're on that balance beam, dropping the head down. Inhale, exhale to the floor. Inhale, exhale, walk out to plank. Long from head to toe. Hold for one, inhale. Hold for one, exhale. Push from the arms, lift the hips up. Walk your hands back to your feet. Roll yourself up to standing and return. Good. Shake it out. Nice work, everybody. So we're going to finish there with that balance series. You're all ready for balance beam now. Good work. Thanks so much, everyone. So different class than last week, but good to tap in to sort of similar exercises, but thinking of them in different ways. Yeah.
That was fantastic, Lily. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That was fun. Your glutes might be tired. Like these muscles might be tired. They might feel sore. That's okay. They're good. Those are good series to do if you have ankle instability as well, or even some knee or hip instability. It kind of works through that whole chain from bottom to top, like bottom of the feet to the top of the hips. So they're fun ones to do for that. Cool. Yeah. Next time we can do some hip. We'll keep alternating.
Right.
Yeah, get the cardio as well. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.
Enjoy the weather.
Oh yeah, I couldn't hear any of the noise outside, so I don't think your earpods pick it up.
Oh, that's good.
Like, it was fine. You were like, there's noise, and I'm like, I don't hear anything. So
oh, that's good to know. I guess because I forget there's noise canceling with these ones. So it must like cancel the outside noise. There were like motorcycle bikes like going, you know how loud motorcycles are. It was like, wow, it's so loud.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it cancels out. That's good. Thank goodness. That's great. Well, take good care. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Have a
good weekend.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye. Bye, Sarahi.